Imagine a world untouched by cities, cars, or machines. A land where survival wasn't about convenience but raw instinct. Picture the blazing sun scorching endless plains, predators lurking behind every bush, and seasons that could turn gentle rivers into raging torrents. This was life 4 million years ago, a time when early humans, not yet us, were learning to survive in a world that demanded every ounce of their courage, every flicker of their intelligence. The earth was harsher, wilder, and unforgiving, yet in this crucible of danger, the story of human resilience began to unfold. Our ancestors walked upright long before they understood tools or fire. Their bodies were crafted for endurance, long legs for traveling across vast savannas, strong arms for climbing and defense, and nimble fingers for gripping whatever the environment offered. But adaptation was not only physical, it was a dance of observation, learning, and experimentation. Every step they took was a negotiation with nature. Every day was a gamble, each sunrise a challenge to live through until the next. Water was life, yet not always easy to find. Early humans followed streams, learned the patterns of rainfall, and memorized the hidden pools in dry riverbeds. Plants were medicine, food, and sometimes poison. They discovered which roots provided nourishment, which leaves could heal infections, and which berries could kill. With each discovery, they were writing the first chapters of human ingenuity. Hunting was more than a skill, it was survival. They learned the movements of antelope, the tracks of predators, and the rhythms of the wind that could carry their scent. Sometimes the hunt ended in triumph, a feast of meat nourishing bodies and minds. Sometimes it ended in loss, a painful lesson carved into memory, teaching caution and respect for the power around them. Cooperation became vital. Groups of early humans began to communicate with gestures, sounds, and shared strategies, understanding that survival was stronger when they acted together. The nights brought new challenges. Darkness was more than the absence of light, it was home to creatures that hunted by senses sharper than theirs. Yet early humans were not powerless, they learned to use fire, not only for warmth and protection but for signaling and companionship. Around flickering flames, stories, observations, and warnings were shared, passing knowledge from one generation to the next. Intelligence was the ultimate weapon, more powerful than claws or teeth. But life wasn't just about survival, it was about understanding the environment, anticipating its dangers, and turning threats into opportunities. When drought struck, they migrated to greener pastures, leaving behind familiar landscapes with heavy hearts but determined minds. When predators attacked, they learned new hunting techniques, made tools from stone and bone, and reinforced their shelters with branches and mud. These adaptations were gradual, painstaking, and often brutal, but they formed the blueprint of human progress. And yet, amid the struggle, moments of ingenuity flickered like sparks in the darkness. Imagine an early human observing the flight of birds, noticing where the rivers teemed with fish. Imagine someone watching predators hunt in packs, then mimicking their strategies to bring down larger prey. These weren't just survival tactics, they were the beginnings of culture, of problem-solving, of innovation that would define humanity millions of years later. Every footprint left in the mud, every tool sharpened by hands covered in calluses, every shelter painstakingly constructed against the wind and rain, tells a story of endurance. Life 4 million years ago was brutal, yes, but it was also alive with discovery, with lessons that would echo through millennia. And as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky with streaks of orange and crimson, early humans huddled together, learning, observing, surviving. The night was long, but so was their determination. Their eyes reflected the firelight, eyes that would one day see the rise of civilizations, but for now, they only needed to see enough to survive until dawn. The next day brought new challenges, and the lessons from the previous night weighed heavily. Scarcity forced innovation. Tools became extensions of the body, sharp stones for cutting, sticks for digging, and eventually, strategies that would outwit even the cleverest predator. Each generation inherited not only the physical skills of survival but the knowledge etched into memory by ancestors. Survival had become a shared intelligence, a collective understanding of the land, the water, and the creatures that inhabited it. Adaptation wasn't just about fighting, it was about anticipation. Early humans learned weather patterns, read the signs of incoming storms, and sought shelter before the sky could unleash chaos. They understood that patience could be as vital as strength. By observing the subtle changes in the wind or the flight of birds, they predicted dangers, turning instinct into foresight. Food scarcity demanded ingenuity. Some early humans discovered edible tubers hidden beneath hardened soil. Others learned to crack nuts or store dried meat for lean times. The search for sustenance became an unspoken science, where trial and error shaped survival strategies. Every experiment, every risk, was a lesson in resilience. Communication evolved rapidly. Beyond gestures, early humans developed sounds, calls, and signals that conveyed warning, opportunity, or cooperation. This early form of language forged bonds, strengthened groups, and gave rise to empathy. They learned to care for the injured, protect the weak, and recognize the value of unity. The harsh environment demanded more than physical adaptation. It demanded social cohesion, the ability to work as one organism to face threats that none could survive alone. Yet, life was not solely defined by survival. Early humans began to manipulate their surroundings. Fire was not just warmth. It became a tool for cooking, for driving animals, for light. Rocks and sticks were shaped, sharpened, repurposed. Observation turned into planning, instinct into strategy. This fusion of mind and environment was the foundation of human innovation, a quiet revolution that would eventually reshape the world. And still, the world was unpredictable. Predators, diseases, droughts, and famine were constant threats. But every danger sparked new solutions. Some built shelters in caves, others in trees. Some learned to store water, others to use smoke and fire to protect themselves. Adaptation became a continuous cycle, each challenge demanding a creative response. By learning, observing, and experimenting, early humans weren't just surviving, they were evolving. Every hardship sculpted their minds and bodies, making them resilient, clever, and extraordinarily adaptable. Over millions of years, these lessons became encoded in their DNA, instincts sharpened, and cultures silently emerging long before words were spoken. As the sun set on another grueling day, early humans sat beside their fires, the wind whispering through the trees, the distant roar of predators reminding them of the precariousness of life. They had survived another day, and in doing so, they had mastered the subtle art of adaptation. They had turned fear into knowledge, scarcity into strategy, and the brutality of the world into the quiet triumph of intelligence. Life 4 million years ago was harsh beyond imagination, yet it was here, in this crucible of survival, that humanity first learned what it meant to endure, to innovate, and to triumph over the odds. From these early struggles arose the spark of civilization, the flame of ingenuity, and the enduring spirit that still courses through every human today. The harsh winds, the scorching sun, the predators, and the scarcity, they were the tutors of resilience, and early humans were their most diligent students. And as night fell, leaving only the stars to witness their endurance, one truth echoed through the ages: the world may be harsh, but those who observe, adapt, and persevere will carve their place within it, leaving footprints that would one day lead to the rise of humanity itself.